To order at 7 o'clock. First, take roll call. Pam Summers. Keith Lepker.
Here.
Judy Austin. Here. Caleb
Plaggy. Here.
Paul Varga.
Here.
And Tim Rhodes is not with us tonight, so I will seat Rob Chernick in his place.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, communications. I don't have any. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting from March 19th? A motion?
Motion to approve.
Judy?
Second.
Keith seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Now, we have to add to this special meetings minutes. May I have a motion to approve them?
Actually, let me add them to the agenda.
Oh, can we have a motion to add it to the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second Paul.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, now we need a motion to add the minutes from the special meeting to.
That was.
Oh, so this
It's added to the agenda. Now you need to have a motion to approve.
right to approve it. Okay. Motion to approve the special minutes. Someone?
I'll move.
Excuse me, Kayla. Second. Keith. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Judy. Okay. I'm going to open the meeting to public comment. First. We're going to keep them to about 5 minutes, okay? Yes.
Okay. All right. I will say this as fast as I can. I have it written so that it goes faster.
I just want to say, if you want to be seen, you could come up to the front seat.
Sure.
Here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then just say your name.
Yes, I will.
Sorry.
That's okay. Cindy Ford, Knowlton Hill Road, Superintendent Director. There were some things about some funding that was questions that were asked at the last meeting. The information we received about ECFS, which is Education Cost Sharing Funding, is that Ashford is being flat funded, no increase or decrease for the upcoming years. Secondly, ECS funds go to the town and is part of town accounting and is for K through 12. The only increase in special education funding has come in the form of a grant known as SEED. These monies need to be spent on new programming. We can't use that money towards a program already in place. Within our presentation, we have shared all of the grants that we receive and have subtracted from the regular budget. There is another possible special education competitive grant, but no information has been released on the parameters. The Board of Education works very hard at ensuring their vision and focus remain on students and how they can push the administration to continually improve our programming while being fiscally responsible. The average increase throughout the state this year for boards of education requests is 5.07%. Ashford Board of Ed has submitted a 3.01%. It's an increase of 185,000. Sorry. Anyway, it's not asking for more people or services. It's a reduction of one staff member. It is a budget that contractually, with contractual increases and increasing costs to provide the same support and services to our children of Ashford. As a school community, we get creative in finding ways to give our students unique experiences. Teachers write grants when they can to fund projects or programs to enrich our students. We have combined positions. We work with the town to pool services. We work with surrounding systems to share opportunities. We make every effort to ensure that students have access to learning a variety of ways to meet the high demands of our ever-changing world. I'm not sure why we are discussing one public service over another. We are a small town. We don't have a large variety of services, but this community has always been creative, provides quality in what we do have. They are all needed services, and as a taxpayer, I do support the public services. No matter what part of the community you turn to, you see hard-working individuals who have a great passion for what they do to improve the town they live and serve in. We all have increasing pressures between needs of the community we serve and the mandates, many unfunded, put on us by state and federal legislation. As a school, families entrust us with their children, and the minute you walk into Ashford School, you can see how much the community is based on a love for kids and a true care for one another. I believe the school is a reflection of our greater community. I'm lucky to be able to be a part of educating one of the greatest treasures of our town, our kids. Ashford is very fortunate to have the amazing adults who have dedicated their lives to serve in our town. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Bill Becker.
Thank you. I'm Bill Becker, Bevington Road. I've written down, like the superintendent did to make it a little bit easier. Respecting the Board of Finance published an expected calendar schedule, I am suggesting that the Board of Finance pass the Board of Selectmen recommendations, which includes supporting the Board of Education budget. The reason being, if any given member does not have any actual proposal to prevent and discuss, it would be very time consuming to do this on the fly. The reason for saying this, First Selectman Captain Silversmith spent 6 hours with me explaining the budget. Estimating it would take me, and I'm brand new with this, you guys have been members. Estimated it would take me 4 to 6 hours to analyze and develop alternatives that may or may not make sense. Problem for the BOF, Board of Finance, is possibly getting seriously off schedule. Regarding the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department request for $487,000, I would like to say those involved and watching the town budget should not at all be surprised. It was only a matter of when and likely to be sudden with little or no warning for any number of reasons. So I am recommending the Board of Finance support this request. The Board of Finance should not be the ones to say no to the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department budget increase. It should be decided by the Ashford voters. This is a serious life or death public safety issue. The Ashford Volunteer Fire Department has had information sessions completely explaining the situation. For the town budget hearing that the Board of Finance is in charge of, I have important technical recommendations. I am partially speaking sort of out of ignorance, not actually knowing past recent history. In my opinion, the Board of Finance must provide a complete physical printout, just like the ones the town treasurer provides for meetings. In my opinion, what must be provided is 7 columns labeled as fiscal year 25 budget, fiscal year 25 actual, fiscal 26 budget, fiscal 26 year-to-date actual, fiscal 27 department request, fiscal 27 Board of Selectmen recommendation, and the final fiscal 27 Board of Finance recommendation. If you adopt the total budget as recommended by the Board of Selectmen, this is a copy and paste routine. All but final recommendations are it, all but the final Board of Finance recommendations are in the treasurer database. Entering the final choice is normal requirement. Keep in mind that the hearing may likely be argumentative and contentious. It would be hard to argue that anything is being hidden if everything is provided. I recommend the Board of Finance formally motion and approve to avoid controversy. And again, I want to thank the first selectman for her assistance. And I have to apologize. I am not overly versant in the mill rate calculation page because I just started looking at this stuff. Thank you.
If I can just make a quick correction. Bill,
Yes, of course.
the Board of Selectmen did not recommend the Board of Education budget.
Oh, I don't know what they got.
Okay, we only recommended the general government budget. I personally, do support the Board of Education budget. But the Board of Selectmen does not have a role in evaluating the Board of Education budget. The Board of Finance does that. So just as they look at the general government budget. And the school does not evaluate the general government budget. But I certainly personally. Any other public comments?
Excuse me, Zychek Road. I was notified by the department yesterday that I've been barred from speaking to the fire department budget. Despite my role as assistant treasurer within the department and despite the fact that I'm myself not a member of the Board of Finance. There's a perceived conflict of interest due to my family ties to the current chief. On a personal, I think it's kind of funny because if you know us, we have our own sets of conflict of interest and don't agree on a lot of things, but I just want to say I think it's kind of a shame how this past month has gone down with everything. I think it's a shame because I don't think we necessarily honored the democratic process. I think we've kind of infringed upon our civic duty to engage in public discussion and debate, which is I think what I tried to do at least last week in good faith and kind of honor those questions. I think we've insulted and belittled the very few volunteers from the community, or a lot of them at least, and the men and women who put their health and well-being on the line for that of others within the town. I think jobs in general, fire, EMS, police, so many of these things are severely lacking, and then we wonder why when we have this type of public display. The budget's a big number, 100%. But I think the department has done everything to mitigate that up until now, and I think sometimes to the detriment of the department, to be honest. And personally, if it makes you guys feel better, when we were doing the budget discussion, I didn't think it was high enough. Anyone who says this was unexpected has not been listening for the last few years. I can say personally, I've brought the problem up myself in public meetings multiple times, especially when we talk about discouraging businesses in town. The underlying adamant kind of agenda to not let the department's budget go to the public and get feedback from the public, I believe is undemocratic and defiles the value of our townspeople, our volunteers, our emergency services people, our community, and the honor of those who are no longer with us who value such things. I'm 28 years old. I came to this department during the height of COVID after being gone for a little over half a decade to work with zero interest and never had any interest in medical or emergency services. Under a different chief and during a very different time in the world, as I'm sure you guys remember, when resources were more scarce than they are even now. I've stayed and somehow have landed with way more responsibility than I ever wanted, not for massive financial gain, and often to the detriment of my health, my well-being, both of myself and of my personal relationships. Because I believe in the town, in the states, in the country's need, and especially within my peer group, for institutions of service and community and volunteerism. I think something my peer group struggles with mightily is just that. And when talking to friends and schoolmates and coworkers, it's something that's on the minds of a lot of young people, and the motivation lacks, the engagement lacks, and I think there's a lot of hope that lacks. And I've always been ruthlessly against that. I've always tried to walk the walk and talk the talk and doing my part to revitalize that, because I think that's the backbone of what makes this country so great. But I think about this past month, and I think about just my entire time in kind of the volunteering and emergency services, and I can say I understand. I understand in a way that I don't think I understood before my peers in my age groups, their disposition and their hopelessness. And I can say today, I don't think I would recommend any of my peers partake in these types of activities. Thank you for your time.
I have a serious comment regarding that. Pardon me for not being recognized. Notice the red clip. This was deliberately held in reserve by comments. The subject is Paul Varga membership status. There has been some public controversy regarding what member Paul Varga can speak about, specifically if he can speak or vote regarding Ashford Volunteer Fire Department issues. There are lawyer opinions claiming he cannot speak or vote about the fire department. From what I recollect, these so-called opinions, which I have read, cite very narrow case law like planning and zoning issues. Conflict of interest case law covers a lot of different issues. The case law cited is not applicable. A lawyer's opinion is not a court finding nor a court order, so only needs to be taken under advisement. It is factual that Paul Varga is not a town employee and does not even get a salary. No one has filed a court petition challenging his nomination, election, or being sworn in. So this means he could speak and vote on any issue that comes before the Board of Finance, and that includes the other Varga who just spoke. From a legalistic point of view, it would be like trying to say a parent of an Ashford school pupil could not speak or vote on any Board of Education item. Pardon me for saying, but I think Paul Varga is probably the most qualified to present the complexities and consequences regarding the fire department. I am dismayed that he's been sort of accidentally buzzing. Take this to court and you'll lose. He has a right to speak and vote.
And you should wait till you're recognized.
I didn't.
No, I see you do. That's unfortunate. That's just my personal, it's someone who has.
Any other public comments? Margaret? Excuse me. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
No, it's okay. Eric McKnight, Mansfield Road. Say first of all, thank you to the Board of Finance. I know it's a tough spot to be in. I know there's been a lot of discourse with a lot of funding going on. So I just like to thank you personally for your commitment, your dedication to the budgets that you're going through, and acknowledging and personally, I would like to say that not only as a member of the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department as a volunteer, but also on a personal level, I'm thankful that we have paid staff, and I would like to continue seeing the paid staff. For me personally, it really hit home. Not this last week when my grandmother was transported to the hospital for some health issues, and it brought me and my family great comfort to know who exactly was going to see them. I know that's a unique insight, but it still brought me comfort to know that I can trust and rely on not only the EMTs that responded, but also personally knowing the paramedics that went. So I just like to say that is another thing that I don't think a lot of people think about, is there is a personal connection between the fire department and a lot of the citizens or community that we see day in and day out, because it's not just like a meeting one time. Some people we see almost every week because of different issues. So I think we also recognize the fact that there is a personal connection between the fire department and a lot of the citizens.
Sorry.
All right, Margaret Vargas, I check road. First, I feel I need to state, I stand here with my own views and words. I don't represent anyone else, and I have not been provided a dialogue outline. I am highly disappointed in the town of Ashford. I grew up in Niantic, a beach kid who was treated like scum. 50 plus years ago, we went to whatever of the 3 schools had room, walked forever to our bus stop, and were continually criticized for where we lived. Fast forward, and the same atmosphere is existing in Ashford. The EMTs, firefighters, and volunteers have chosen to work at the beach. The non-union cohesive group of paid and volunteer men and women at the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department. They are barely getting by, working multiple jobs, and being forced to make the decision to leave because of the practically lowest area wages and no health benefits we provide for them as a town. They don't work in the glamour of unionized Mansfield, Yukon, or Wellington, to name a few. They chose us. We should feel honored they chose us. We should support those who chose us. Those they risk their lives for, risk illness, injury for, leaving their families for, those who they chose to survive and protect. Yet, what have we done? You have pressed legal advice to have not 1, but 2 people now eliminated to answer your questions. 2 of the people to give you the most direct, concise answers you wanted. You have questioned every aspect of this budget request, scrutinized every hour and every cent. That is your job, I understand, but you have not done this for any other department in this town, no other board in this town. This is a service. This is a service like any other service that is contracted for this town. A financially packaged service, just like the heating and cooling service contracts, the IT contracts, the Eastern Highland Health contracts, to name a few. These are financially packaged services not open to negotiation. If you want a lower price, a lower service package is received. None of these or any other Ashford town departments and boards have had the cross-examination of their budget. And in fact, only one, the Board of Education, has been present at a Board of Finance meeting to answer any questions. And even with their willingness to, they have been asked limited questions. In the year of union negotiations for some of our town workers, that is part of the $50,000 budget contingent fund, the current budget crisis must be remembered and emphasized to negotiators. How can we continue to blindly increase salaries and benefits of the people who have paid leadership? The answer of they are unionized is not appropriate or justifiable response. We all must understand that the state of affairs and realize that unrealistic demands will have result in positions being eliminated. It is discriminating to hold the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department solely responsible for the current fiscal state we face. The Ashford Volunteer Fire Department request is for the minimal amount to fulfill your ideal of service. So a lower contracted package will result in lower service. The Ashford Volunteer Fire Department has not spoken of threats as they have been accused. They have spoken the truth. If we don't support them and truly treat them with the respect and care they deserve, they won't choose us anymore. The quality of people we have now will leave because they feel like the beach kids, quite frankly. I've listened to them. I've been feeding them candy in the back so they'll be quiet. They are heartbroken. They feel they don't matter to you. Not only the paid staff, the volunteers, their wives, and their families, and the chief. Do we really want increased response times? Do you want to be waiting upside down or trapped in your car? Do you want to be doing CPR on your loved one while they wait even longer to have somebody come help them? I don't. I'll cut a coffee, a dinner out, a streaming service, I'll change my temperature on my thermostat a couple degrees. All the town offices and buildings could do that. I'll do it for my life, my kids' life, my parents' life, and my neighbors. Because you never expect an emergency to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments?
Kim Pawley, Eastford Road. I am a parent and community member as well as a member of the Ashford Board of Education. I haven't been able to come to the meetings, conflicts with the kids, as well as we have our own meetings going on, but I have been listening to them to get some information and to make sure I come in here more informed than just reading Facebook posts or just listening to people. I've heard Judy say maybe a staggered start for some of these improvements for the fire department, starting with the chief, maybe in January, having benefits in, maybe doing an admin later. I think that's a great way to stagger that. The school does that all the time. We can't afford everything we need, and we've got to look at ways to cut corners. We've talked about the appraisals have gone up this year. People are looking for an increase in tax bills. It's one way to help that. Also, we have had, over the years with Board of Ed, and we've been looked at for large percent increases, as well as large dollar figures. Could be a few $1,000s, but every line item has been looked at. And most of our increase does come from our staff, does come from benefits and union negotiations. So I think that's why the budget is looking at strictly those line items. It maybe doesn't look like every single item is looked at every year, because we've done this every year. So they're looking at these changes. I have personally benefited from the services of the fire department. They are essential in the community, but I've also benefited from the services of the school. So I think what I've seen is some people targeting the two against each other, and they're completely different. And it's not where you pull one money to go over here or people get different benefits. It's that we need to work together. And I've said this last year and it worked. I think putting things to the voters, not even going to the vote, putting them to the public meeting and letting the voters decide, then guess what? You guys are putting something too high. You need to pull it back. Those can be changed then. Or guess what? Yes, we want to support the fire department. We want to support the town. We want to support the school. Thank you.
Oops. Any other comments? No one on Zoom? No hands up? Okay.
You have someone in the back of the room as well.
Oh. Can you unmute up there? Lou, do you have a public comment to make? Let's move on. Do you want to mute him again? Oh,
Just make sure it's not a defect. Can someone else speak on Zoom? Make sure they can speak.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a feed problem. Can you hear me? It's Paul.
yeah. Public comments.
So, my name is Claire LaMonica. I live 100 Lakeview Drive. I'm speaking as a taxpayer. I'm not involved with the fire department, not on any boards. I've lived in Ashford for 30 years. My husband and I brought a young family here, raised 3 children. I've always voted for what you people put forth in the budget. I think you work really hard to be fiscally responsible and give us what we need. I believe education is paramount to any society, but I also believe emergency services are paramount. I have personally been on the receiving end of those services. I think we're at a crossroads, and I know it's hard for you. And here comes the want versus need. I think we need this. I don't want to pay more taxes. I'm alone now. My husband is deceased. My children have all moved out of Ashford. Nobody stayed here. I probably will not age out here. But it's want versus need. We need this fire department. We need education. And I know you're trying really hard to be fiscally responsible, but that's what I want to see as a taxpayer who has paid my taxes and followed what you have said for 30 years. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
My name is Jennifer Lishinsky. I'm on Craft Road, and I'm a member of the Board of Education. I've been in Ashford for 15 years, and my kids have gone through the school district. I really have followed closely this for 15 years. I used to just go to the Board of Education meetings as a parent. I used to come to Board of Finance meetings. And I think that as a town, part of our strength is that we need to work together and we need to really collaborate. And I think that we have done that. And I really think that we need to listen to our boards, listen to our experts, listen to the people that come to you and say, this is what we need. And I'm going to echo what the last two speakers said. I really think that this is not a want, it's a need. I think we have been fiscally responsible, and I think they should put it up. What people have come to you and requested for you to put it up to a vote to make sure that we do use our democracy and have everybody in town come and vote for it. So I would say that you should go with what people have requested, because people have worked really hard. I've been following this, and I know that people really work together. I know we do on the Board of Education, and I know that people who really volunteer in town and want to be engaged are the ones that are trying to do the best for our community. So that would be my recommendation to you as a taxpayer and Board of Education.
Thank you. Anyone else have a comment? All right, we will move on to new business. Motion to nominate for a permanent chair for the Board of Finance. Do we do a motion or nominate?
It would be a motion to nominate
Okay,
someone.
that's what I thought.
So someone would need to make a motion. I think you have a situation here. We have someone who is.
Could you say your name?
No one's making a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Keith. Who will second?
Just to make.
The motion that we.
To nominate
Anybody.
someone to be permanent chair.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kayla.
Who's not?
So then we're gonna put. So now we're gonna put it in?
No, that you would make
that was.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Very simple, just like you did before with bringing somebody on the board. Okay, so it would be a motion with a person's name.
Okay.
I motion that so-and-so, I nominate so-and-so. So what would be?
I nominate Kayla.
A second.
You want to do it?
I'll second Kayla.
And then. Are there any more?
Are there any more nominations? Move to close nominations.
Pam?
Yes,
Pam, it's Paul. I couldn't hear what they said, so who's the nominee?
I am Paul.
I am.
Kayla.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, it just was
That's
very, very
okay.
broken up that when they're talking, sometimes the mic doesn't pick it up very well. Thank you.
Blink once for yes, blink two.
I mean, it wasn't discussed.
We didn't have
I don't think we had a nomination.
You can,
I mean,
should you choose, you can decline. I'm just letting you know.
yeah, okay. I mean,
You have that right.
somebody has to do it, right? So it's just. I don't know about a discussion of if there's anybody else who.
Well,
do
that was
it,
where
or-
you had asked, are there any other nominations?
Right.
I believe we have a little more time, don't we? I believe we have 30 days from the resignation or the loss of the chair. I don't remember, I don't know what the timeline has been, 2 weeks, right?
No, I don't believe that there is that kind
Yeah, I
of
mean,
rule. There might be, but I find it unlikely there'd be that kind of a rule around that. The 21 days applies to when you have an alternate lead or you have a full member lead. Okay, that's the 21 days where we either, in the case of a full member, the board has 21 days to bring somebody else on, could be anybody. And with an alternate, the town, the selectmen have 21 days to have a town meeting to bring an alternate on. That's what those 21 days are all about. As far as when you have someone who's an acting chair, I think that can go on somewhat indefinitely. I'm not encouraging that because I know the uncomfortableness of that. So I don't think there's that kind of a rule around it. I think it's really in some ways, and pardon me for speaking, I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
I think in some ways is in terms of continuing as acting chair, that would be a personal decision of yours. And the fact that this person has been nominated, and should Kayla decide to serve in that role, you know, you have nominations, you've the nomination, and now it's a point of you can close nominations and then vote. Or Kayla can make her comment about whether or not she wants to pursue this.
Being new at this, could I ask a question perchance? Does the chair have to be a member of the Board of Finance?
Absolutely. Full member.
Full member, okay. So no one could act as a moderator and just, okay, thank you.
No, you were all elected.
I think it would only be fair to before we close nominations, to let Kayla speak.
First, I'll say my husband will not be.
None of our husbands.
Exactly. I mean, it's just running the meetings, really going through the agenda. Right. So I think just. Yeah.
So as a chair, and we've had Judy was a chair. As a chair, yes, it is managing this crew. Okay. Making sure that you're following general Robert's Rules of Order, making sure the agendas are put together. You have a clerk already who works with the agendas. That is the role of the clerk. And then someone who is reviewing the minutes, that is also the role of the clerk. Sometimes the chairs have been the people to do them. I know I did it when I was. I don't know if Judy did. I know that Chuck did, you know. But there are other things as well. The letter that comes from the, that is part of the budget package. Can someone pass this on? This is one from 2023. So the chair actually puts out that letter. There's a form, you know, it's got its own format. But I would say that the chair would be seeking support from the new chair in this group, because none of you have done this that way, would assist the chair in making sure they have the information for that letter. So it's at the beginning of the package, and there are numbers that need to be filled in. Yeah. So and if you go through, you'll see some more stuff. So that's and then you preside over the public hearing like a chair, just like one of these meetings. And it's a public hearing, the other members are encouraged to speak. And I definitely would expect all of you to speak. And so you're not just there all by your lonesome,
Yeah.
having to convey everything. You know, some chairs take it on, some chairs don't have to do as much. As far as other things, you would be monitoring the Board of Finance email account and responding to whoever has questions or whatever. The Selectman's office will help you with anything you need. The Finance office will help you with anything you need. We want this board to be successful, be able to work together. And so we want to provide whatever support we can to help you, because for the newness of some of you to what, you know, what you're taking on, what you've been doing. So you have it, I'm trying to think if there's other things. I think the entire board is accountable for Robert's rules. You all should know what they are. If you don't, you better find out. You're just really kind of officiating and ensuring that everybody has the opportunity to speak. If you're a really good chair, you let them speak first. That's a personal note.
Question. Would it be possible to, let's say, allow Kayla time to think about it, have conversations with perhaps her husband, because this is a time commitment? And we just close the nominations for the time being. Well, what would be the proper way so to give her time?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was asking. I didn't know if you would already.
If anybody else is willing, I mean, it's more like, how can I change your minds if somebody else wants to do it?
I didn't know. That's why I asked the question about whether or not she was aware that she was going to be nominated tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily aware. And I know just based off of doing, the recording secretary of all last year and just, seeing Christina, what she's brought on. And it just seems like a lot of like extracurriculars, obviously, behind the scenes and whatnot. So, I mean, I think that would be fine to moderate and be the chair, but also know that other things may be distributed among all members as well. So where it's not necessarily just going to be on me.
So one question I have for you is, how good are you with Excel?
Very good. I'm actually, I don't know if I should say, but I'm actually an accountant, so I'm familiar with budgeting. I'm familiar with,
I would say,
all of the numbers. So
I would say in general, you have more of an advantage than others, or a skill set that will be valuable.
Yeah.
So would you like? The question is, would you like more time to think?
I don't think
or are
it's
you willing to go forward?
anything. It's fine. We can continue.
Then is your motion to close nominations.
Okay, who'd like to make the motion to close nominations? Judy, did you close? Second?
Second.
And then they take a vote.
And then what?
Then they take a vote where you cast one vote as the chair.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? I want to hug you.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I don't want to hug her.
Kayla, any help you need. Okay.
Especially with a public meeting coming.
Do a reach out, any help you need.
Okay, wonderful. We will move on to new business again. The continued discussion of the general government and Board of Education. The fire department will come next. So it's separate. We'll discuss that after the general government and Board of Ed. Okay. Do we have any comments?
So if I understand correctly, the way it's set up is discussion of the two If I see this one more time, for those of you who don't have the agenda. Okay, just put it up. Oh, there you go.
There it is.
Okay, it's here, right here. So you can see that the decisions are item 6B. Yeah, they're not as part of that discussion, those discussions.
I think someone's from. Make sure you share your screen for people. They're online.
Can Zoom see it?
Can Zoom see it?
Yeah, if you're gonna share it, you need to share it on Zoom. For sure.
Okay. Feelings? Comments? We
So
can
I'm
start
going-
with the general government.
I'm kind of tossed. Interrupted while I'm getting my thoughts out.
Okay, no, you have the right to speak uninterrupted.
So, part of me says, okay, we'll bring it to the town. The other part of me says, we should have a combined compromise. Last year, we had a, total of expenditures in the balance, the fund balance that we exceeded $563,599. So in other words, we overtaxed, but we don't know that until the end of the year. I don't know what it's gonna be this year, but that's where we get the 12 to 15%. Where we decide to move that into CNR. So that being said, when I'm looking at the combined compromise, I struggle because, yes, the children are very important. You guys did an awesome job this year. I cannot deny that. But safety has to be paramount to me for everybody. So what I was thinking for the board to consider was perhaps a reduction in the school for 75,000, the general budget for 50, and the firehouse for 200.
I couldn't hear all of that.
Yeah, and let me finish. So
Can you just say it again?
So 75 for the school, 50 for the general,
50 to 15.
50,000, and 200,000 for the fire department. And then a consideration of taking 150 and giving it back to the citizens, 150,000 from CNR. So the budget plan would bring it down, consider a 3 to 5 year plan for the firehouse. This way, at least this year, we can support the raises for them and perhaps the chief in some way. And then slowly bring in the rest of the things that we need. I had some questions still open on things that I never got answered. For the monies for the ambulance, where that money went and how we're gonna fund it in the future. I don't know if you have an answer for that. And there's also, I looked into several different like rewards programs. And I don't know how many that we applied for, or if maybe we can share resources for going with the grants for the firehouse. But they have one that we currently have. I didn't see it in the budget. Perhaps I only looked at it. I don't know where it's located, but there's one for $48,000 that we've had since 2024 that can be used to support. It's called Public Act number 25-174. It can be used to put towards affordable housing or public safety infrastructure. This money has been there and it is recorded as coming to Ashford, but I don't know like in what document we call it out. So I need help with that. I was guessing maybe line item 110.04002.43301. I did see one of the grants for $3,000. It was a small one. It was on the money coming in. I saw that one. There's another one that's a safer grant. This grant is used to adequately staff response personnel. I don't know if we ever applied for that. So my point is that I think there's things out there that we could use to our benefit if somebody knew actually how to dig into that. I personally don't. I just know to do the research and see what's available. So I'm just suggesting that between what I had called out here, it's a possibility. The other thing is, I struggle because I'm almost to the point where I'm throwing my hands up and saying, okay, let's just throw it out there. My fear is that it'll come back and we'll have to cut really deep. Because it always, if it comes back, we have to cut it. And then that's, so I'm talking about a balancing act here. I don't know the answer.
Any other comments?
Pam, it's Paul.
Yes, Paul.
So every speaker I heard tonight and every person I've talked to in the public has asked why we're not just letting it go to a vote. And I do have the same concern that Judy has regarding it coming back, but the general public has, I think, we've gotten more engagement from the general population than we have in a long time regarding this budget. And I have not heard anybody say no as far as taking it to a vote. They may vote no later, and that's okay. But I think that this is a decision that needs to go to the voters and let them have a chance. And quite honestly, we have a public the public hearing that the Board of Finance puts on, and if we get additional feedback, we can make changes at that meeting as well, after that meeting as well. I just, and some of the things that were proposed by Judy, I don't even know what I'm supposed to talk about and what I'm not supposed to talk about. My legal counsel says not to say anything regarding that stuff, so I'm not going to until that's hashed out. But the questions she had, I would have been happy to answer. And as far as the reduction she proposes, I'm going to tell you right now, I can't see the gallery of people from the camera, the angle.
What you might want to do is take down the.
No. I just can't see the
it's
gallery
from the
anyway. Like I
camera.
can't see the public
Like
because
that
I
camera.
know. I don't know if Cindy or who's there. What I'm saying is that I know the look on the faces of some of the people that were there, and probably some people on the board. Those are not. I just don't think it's possible. One of the speakers mentioned cuts in services, and that's what we would see, and they would be pretty drastic. I personally think that at this point, we put it to the town and see if people show up for the public hearing and the budget meeting, the town meeting, and then to vote, and see what happens. I think every single department has done their very best to get this to what they feel is a safe place for them to do their jobs. And anything less than that, I don't see any fluff anywhere, and I just don't. And I go through these numbers all the time. So that's it. I just think it should go to a vote, and that's all.
So, Paul, I agree. Everybody's done an awesome job. I don't have a problem with any of it. I really don't. However, when I looked at one of the drafts that Christina had made of an average assessed value house at 167 the taxes would now go up to $6,919 if we keep everything the way it is. So basically, that's $133 a week for 52 weeks. If you have a take-home pay of $500, that leaves you $867 left. You gotta figure out how to pay your mortgage, your car, gas, insurance, groceries, and any of your children, whatever. If you're lucky enough, maybe you have double that. But it's just something to think about. That's why I was going down the road of perhaps maybe bringing it down to a more manageable size for somebody that might not be able to afford it.
Holly wants to go out.
Oh, please.
I was listening. Yeah.
Who's speaking?
Any,
Martha.
well,
Oh.
any other, right now the board is talking. I'd like to hear from every member on the board, if that's okay.
I just had a comment to go after, Judy. So you said meant to take money from the CNR, because we did have an excess of what we taxed the last year. So is that possible? How does that work? Do you know?
I think that we can move money out of there to, I know.
Because it
Go ahead,
stays in the
Catherine.
undesignated fund. Is that the fund that we're
So
talking about?
what you're really talking about is taking money that you've moved into CNR, you can move it out, not a problem. However, you're moving it back into the general fund. And if you're saying you're using that money to offset the tax, that part of the tax increase, what you've got is what those of us who have done this for a long time refer to as a slippery slope. What that is borrowing, actually using money from your savings account to pay your electric bill. So what you have to do is the next year, if you were to do the 200, you have to do the same thing again. It just compounds the problem.
The one you might not be there, mention that.
So
I'm sorry, you will not recognize.
I have a
So I'm just trying to make sure I get this across, because years ago, that was done when we had the water problem. Okay, money was taken, and that was when I first got involved with some of this. So we had a really low balance for our designated, our general fund, undesignated fund, and over time, we have a non-occurring. We beat that up over time whenever we had an excess of monies left over from a budget. And you've got your own policy, the Board of Finance does, that anything over 10 to 15% of what your budget is, if there's that excess, you want to keep like 10 to 15% in there, because that's for money flow and any eventuality. And then you can, and what you have been doing is moving the monies in excess of that over into capital non-recurring. So you are making sure that you have monies to buy fire trucks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, rather than taxing in 1 year for a fire truck. Okay, which would be outrageous, because I think the fire truck we're getting is $550,000, something, or $570,000. So this was done for 2 years that I recall. I don't think it was done under my watch, but it was done for 2 years. And it was where money was taken from the undesignated fund to offset taxes, at least part of the taxes. And then you had to keep doing it. And then you bit the bullet when you stopped doing it, because you had a budget that was $200,000, more, that you now had to sustain going further, future years. So I hope I'm not confusing people. It's just that the best analogy for this is you're taking money from your savings account and you're using it to pay your monthly electric bill, which is not how most people would manage their finances. In addition, I believe the auditors did not look favorably upon that practice.
Well, I don't remember them ever saying that, but my question is, so, our credit rating's good because of our savings account, we know that. We have this 563,000 that we overtaxed last year. If we took 300 and put it towards the CNR, I mean, towards the capital, which we took the whole lump sum and we put it in there. If we took 300 and put it towards projects, you'd have 268 left. You take half of that, give it back to the citizens. And then you'd have that 100 left for next year for your little hole in your bucket. It wouldn't, I don't believe it would damage that much. And then, like I said, you're looking at this money from this year. I'm wondering, do we know around
What we're projecting?
We're gonna project this much for this year coming back.
I don't have that yet because of where we are in the year. We've earmarked certain monies because we know we have to pay that amount. And actually Sherry, Susie and I are looking at that because I'm afraid we're going to go over budget. Because what we did were draconian cuts last year that are this budget that we're working with currently. So we've had things like, we only have $20,000 in contingency, bought a couple of flags for ceremonies out of it. And we have a $30,000 repair on a truck that was unexpected. So we've got that. There are a couple of other things that were unexpected. The train upgrade for the HVAC system was unexpected, but required. Couldn't control the lights outside, couldn't control the air and the heating in here. And that in itself was another unexpected expense. So you can't predict everything. What you try to do is do your best, I'm going to say, your best educated guess. Also, we don't know. We may be hearing these are the amounts that we're going to get for revenues from the state, but even those can change because they're not at a point where they're all decided. Okay. So we're moving with something that's a little, I don't want to say amorphous, but just it's something that is kind of, it's going to shift here and there. I'm looking at it and we're monitoring very closely to make sure that the departments are staying within their budgets. But when you have these unexpected situations, they're big ones. That $30,000 is a little unnerving for me because we haven't had that kind of thing before. Not here. The other thing is our salt and sand, what we've needed for the storms that we've had, some of the repairs to the roads that we've had to do because of the rainstorms. All of that those are things where we did our best educated guess based on past experience, but we've had an unnaturally severe weather issues that have cost us more money than was originally estimated. So as you know, all of you know, at the end of the fiscal year, after the audit is done, is when we look at, or actually as part of the audit, what's looked at is, okay, what line items went over? Okay, in a department budget, if line items go over, but you still come in the black of that total, you're fine. If you have departments that go over, you need to be able to be making adjustments at the end of the year to make sure that you've got everything covered. So I don't know where we are with that yet, but we are looking at it. Sherry and I are both looking at it because I'm nervous as a cat.
Only the board's talking now, Bill. We're not doing any public comment. Rob, what are your feelings? You've got to vote, so you've got to
this
say
is all
something.
new to me, and I'm also a member of the fire department, so it's
We're not doing that. It's the general government.
oh, general government.
General board of ed.
Yeah.
So you can't tell next one.
I'm still trying to adjust all this.
Okay. Keith.
Okay. I don't know, maybe the decision has been made for us by our town clerk, who says that we have to stick with the timeline that we've had. And if we were to make a recommendation of changes in the amount, for the general fund in the Board of Ed, that we would have to make those tonight. We'd have to make those tonight in order to stay within our timelines, as pointed out by our town clerk. So we could be here till midnight if we.
Oh, Rick Quatley says.
That, you know, to hear from Board of Ed and the fire department later, and come to some agreement or not, but we have to do something tonight. It's my understanding, Catherine, maybe you have an opinion.
What we have heard, and it was through the town clerk, she identified an ordinance. And, the ordinance is one that says, I don't know if you have a copy of that ordinance, do you?
Yeah.
I don't.
Could I?
Yeah.
For the public, if it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, it says. Where's the ordinance? This is the email.
Well, that, I don't have the exact words.
All right, so the bottom line is the ordinance says something to the effect that you have to do a notice for the annual town meeting that is certain number of days. I know someone has it. Yeah. No, that's not the ordinance. This is a schedule. You have it. No, that's not the ordinance. Give me a second. Anyway, you can't alter the date of the annual town meeting, all is said and done, because there's an the town has an ordinance that is to that effect. So if you're trying to, you know, maybe push it further along, do a separate referendum, you still have that meeting. So even I didn't know that we had that ordinance. So, and it was put in place in 2017. There it is. No, that's not. Oh my God, sorry. It's kind of, and the way that, and what I would suggest is for this meeting, we'll get a copy of the ordinance. You have it attached to the minutes so people, everybody can see it.
Okay.
So that's what the ordinance basically says. It's only referring to the annual town meeting.
I pulled it on mine.
I don't know the number.
I can't. 75-3.
Great. Do you want to read it out loud?
Unless it's practically impossible to do so, notice of cancellation or postponement of any public meeting shall be conspicuously posted on or near the door of the place where the meeting is scheduled, and any notice of meeting which is postponed shall be rescheduled within 30 days. And
that's not it.
No?
Yeah, it's like 14.
No, it refers to the town's annual budget meeting. So, and it basically backs, if I understand correctly, it backs up from the referendum date.
Okay,
So,
yes, set date not less than 7 or more than 14 days thereafter.
Yeah.
You know, just.
Okay, then I'll give my opinion about the general government budget and the Board of Education. I agree with what Paul says. I think you all have cut your budgets to the bone and they're not unreasonable. And I see no reason not to adopt them tonight and put them before the town for their opinion. I don't have a problem with any of them. So, do we need to do?
Can I just ask a question? If you wouldn't mind, Judy, I went and I was looking up Public Act number 25, and I didn't see anything that you had referred to. If you would you please send me an email with the recommendations or the items that you mentioned. Because I'm not aware of the 48,000 for 2024. And I will talk with our treasurer and head of finance about that because I've never seen that represented in a budget anywhere, so I'm not sure what that is. And I think when you said rewards, were you talking about grants? No, I really would appreciate the email. I don't want to belabor it in front of everybody else here, so that I can go and look it up and check out it.
But I will email it. I have it right.
Well, and then the other thing you referred to was Public Act number 25. Under 25, there's 70 things under 25.
I was gonna say, you have to go pretty deep into those.
Yeah, so it must be Public Act number 25 dash something that you're referring to.
Let's see it. It is Public Act number 25-174. And you go into it, it's pretty deep in there, but
No,
there's a sum that we're supposed to get every October for 44,498. And it's been since 2024.
And what I'm going to look at is what that's for. Because typically with these, they are for specific things.
Well, it
And if
says,
you mentioned public safety infrastructure, infrastructure is not salaries and things like that.
so this one says affordable housing, public safety infrastructure, and this is what it includes for the 2025-174. It can be used for affordable housing and public safety infrastructure. And then the SAFER grant award is for staffing adequate fire.
You said board or safety?
SAFER, SAFER.
Staffing for active firefighters.
That one is for
Catherine,
firefighters, so that's
Catherine,
not,
We've
that would not be something that we would be looking at. It would be the ones that the fire department is looking at.
That's what I said.
And our
Explain it to you guys after.
I was just questioning if we ever looked at it.
Yeah, well, they've actually mentioned it in, and I think it was also mentioned in, when, we had our legislators come in to speak at the firehouse.
No, that was another one. That one is a new one. And that one's coming out. That one hasn't come out yet.
No, so
Probably will
is it
be a
approved?
while. But that one is public safety and security.
Right, and that's not
That's a
approved yet.
different one.
Safer grant, you have to meet to the salaries of the firefighters before you apply to the grant. It takes a year to get the grant.
Yeah.
So basically, what you can do is, you want me to explain it? If you want me to explain it real quick, I can explain what it is. You pay a percent every year.
Can you ask him to come up? Oh, could you
For that grant that you're talking about, the safer grant, it's over a 5-year period. You have to, the town has to commit prior to putting in for the grant for the amount of money of the salaries of the firefighter, which benefits and everything like that. And it's very easy for a union fire department to get it. We're not a union fire department, so it's very difficult to get it. You also have to commit every year. It's a staggered approach to those salaries. Once the funding runs out, if the town decides not to fund that money, those guys lose their jobs. So it's a very slippery grant to get in. You have to be ready for it.
But have you already looked at it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just
It's
saying
just a
that
very
there's a lot
difficult
of
grant to
stuff
get, and it's financially impact. It's just another way to kick the can a little further down the road to impact these greater down the road. So you have to commit to the grant, the federal grant. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along then.
Hey,
The fire department follow up and responses. Oh, Paul?
Yeah, I have I was trying to cut in and it was just crazy,
I'm
but
sorry.
I have the ordinance that Catherine was referring to.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I can read it and it's wordy and I worked through it myself yesterday. So there is some truth to what she said. I'll read it to you and then I'll give you my interpretation of it. Because I wasn't very pleased with the email that we got from the town clerk. So the original adopting was of May 7th of 2012. Pursuant to section 7-1, 7-148 C2A, and 7-388 of Connecticut General Statutes as amended, a date no less than 7 nor more than 14 days prior to the first Tuesday following the first Monday in the month of May shall be designated as the day and date to be warned for the holding of the annual town meeting for consideration of the budget and the transaction of other town businesses as required to come before the legislative body. Everybody confused yet?
It sounds like a lawyer wrote it.
Yeah, I think so. So what it boils down to is this, and it took a while from myself and some other people to figure this out. Basically, what that means is if you look at the calendar, May 5th is the first Tuesday following the first Monday of May this year. So the town meeting has to be between the notice for the town meeting has to be between I'm sorry, the town meeting has to be between 4/21 and 4/28. So you have a 7-day window. For whatever reason, we always pick a Tuesday, but there's nothing in there, nor is there anything in the state statute that it references requiring a specific day. So there's a little bit of mistruth or misspeak in that email, and that's why I was annoyed with it. We're not bound to that tonight. I'm not saying we should move it, although I did discuss that last week. What I'm saying is that we have a 7-day window if we should choose to use it. The rub is, if you will, that means our referendum would be 1 week later than the current Region 19 referendum, which seems to be the big target date that everybody is fixated on. So, and it took, I think, 3 calendars and a lot of scratch pad work to figure it out. So I do applaud, the group, Sherry and Catherine and Christine and Christina for figuring out the schedule to fit into that 7-day window. But that's the ordinance as it reads. So there is a little bit of flexibility. Again, I'm not recommending or saying that we should use it. I'm just saying that that's how it exists. There is an ordinance that does require us to, or requires a town to hold a town meeting within a certain period of time, which means we have to notice that meeting within a certain period of time. That's all I got for now.
I just went through Public Act 25-174. And in here, this is really, this points to, as I said, public safety infrastructure. It's not salaries or anything like that. It's really buildings, what you're doing with buildings. So,
So on page 192, it has Ashford getting 44,498. I was just wondering where we reported that in our
44,198. Is that an amount you're talking about?
44,498. It says for the fiscal year ending 2024 and each fiscal year thereafter, the municipality or district listed below shall receive the following supplement grant payable not later than October 31st annually.
Looks like the distressed municipal grant.
That's what I was thinking, but it
It's
doesn't
the
have the
same
same
amount.
name, so I was like, what is it? Like,
It's
where
just-
is it?
Yeah, it's the same amount,
44,498.
$498 for last year.
And it showed its revenue coming to the town?
Yep, in October.
No, it showed it in our revenue.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
that's
on
what I
the
was-
first page.
Thanks,
Yeah, that's what I was asking, is where is it noted, because it's not embedded under the thing.
And it looks like that is specifically for public safety infrastructure, correct?
This is. It's for affordable housing, public safety infrastructure.
Like fire alarms and stuff in buildings.
Yeah, it can help with the school safety stuff too.
I will follow up to find out where that was dispersed. Make sure that we've got that information, and I will send an email out to let you know.
Yeah, because I circled, the distress municipal grant, thinking that perhaps that is it. Yeah, because it was right next to the 3,000,
No,
three,
Sherry will let us know where that's dispersed.
but like I said, it's not the same name, so it's,
That's part of the issues, right? So,
yes.
okay,
Madam Acting Chair, the people on Zoom can't see you guys.
so what you want to do is take down the agenda so they can see, stop sharing the agenda. So they can see
Stop sharing.
the rest of us.
Okay. Yep.
Can they see us now?
You're just smiling.
Is that a yes? Okay.
Okay, can we move now to the fire department follow-up and responses to outstanding questions? You've said it all. Okay,
I still have an outstanding question as to and where it went.
It's the handout.
Yeah, I did, but
with Cal pinch hitting for me at the door with Chair to get over to Jack Edwin, where I have a plan to knock Jeff's business.
Chair. I would like to point out to the membership and reiterate what I said.
The town business fund.
No finding or order that restricts anyone from speaking from the fire department.
If you're on Zoom, can you please mute yourself?
If Jimmy can convince Jeff that there is room in this town for both of them, then his business will fly. Here
You need to mute everybody needs to mute.
Chairman, I was interrupted. I want to reiterate, there is no court finding or order that restricts anyone from the fire department from speaking or voting about anything. No court order, no court finding. You could speak. And somebody wants to challenge you, they have to petition the court.
we have it all in writing here.
do you understand that?
I understand what was told to us in past meetings, that the revenue that is collected from the people they transport goes towards a fund to buy a new ambulance.
Correct. And it's not gonna be there this year, so that's coming budget, so. I was wondering where it went and how we're going to fund the ambulance in the future. That's my question. And I looked at this, and I don't really understand. Like where the $60,000+ is coming from, because on the bottom there, it's got funding of, is that 8,000 and 11,000, so.
If I recall, we don't fund it, the fire department does.
Yeah.
You might want to ask for someone else.
Okay. Could you explain then how the funding for the ambulance works again? Thank you.
Okay, Charlie Sweet with Deputy Chief of Fire Department. Okay, not very good at this, so bear with me. It's my understanding that the town of Ashford does not pay for the actual ambulance service. It's all self-generated funds through what we charge our patients.
Right.
Through insurance payments. Out of that money, we also have some money goes to paramedics. Some money goes to other like insurances and stuff and materials that we need to buy for the ambulance, supplies and things of that nature. The monies that left over, we can put it to that side, pay for the ambulance at the end of the year, whatever that amount is. Put into that category. From time to time, we have to draw from that to help pay some bills throughout our fiscal year. But at some point during that same fiscal year, the money's come back because we get our payments from the insurance companies and whatnot. And just the way the budget works, we get our quarterly payments, so that's where it is. 23-24 appropriations with $452,665. Ambulance revenue was $157,933 that particular year. Total revenue was $610,598. Yeah. Excuse me. Operating expenses came out to $474,334. So the total expended, what was left over was $134,919. Total expenses, $609,253. Operating expenses for the whole thing came out to, so there was a difference of $1,345.
And you don't buy a new ambulance every year.
No, we buy one. We start thinking about getting one in year 5 or 6 with the hopes of being able to replace it in years 7, 8, or 9.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, because I think what Judy was asking before was when this was first presented. In the past, there had been an amount related to ambulance, and then all of a sudden for this upcoming year, the amount is 0.
They decided to take that away from out of the general budget. Because it's not money that the town has or gives to us, it's money that we don't, that money was what we were shown when we generated ourselves and how that worked.
So in the past, so I think
You don't know what you're gonna have yet, and that's why you have a 0,
Yes.
because you don't know what
We
the
don't.
income's gonna be. As of this
What
date.
Medicare pays and stuff.
That was my question.
That was my original question.
We don't.
Well, because I thought that the ambulance was a whole separate books to where it
It
has
is.
exactly. So I thought that like last year you were using the ambulance revenue that you were getting to offset, say, the other set of books, your main book. So now this year you're taking that out, and so we're not reflecting any ambulance revenue in this.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was my confusion, was that there was 0, and I'm like, oh, we're using the money, then.
Because the revenue for ambulance is supposed to be used for maintaining the ambulance, not salaries of people, the firefighter, EMTs. That's what he's trying to explain. Yeah.
That was the confusion. You did a good job.
I tried.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All set, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, should we, do you have something to say?
Right, you asked about the fire department budget. I know some people have suggested that maybe we could, that we delay implementation of some benefits for like next year or dealing with the chief's salary, but I'm opposed to that because I think that with the critical situation that our fire department and that includes the firefighters, the EMTs, that we should advance this budget as it is to the town. Any delays in offering benefits or salary increases, or even perhaps with the appointment of a chief, I think could lead to further other paid individuals leaving the service of Ashford, going elsewhere, and that's just going to put us in a more precarious situation than we are now. And it also discourage others from coming to Ashford. So for those reasons, I believe we should accept the budget as it is now, and then have the town vote.
And I'm the one who suggested that. Looking at it to try and make it a more, not as big of a pill for the public to accept, or as big a pill. And, I have to agree with you that, and, you know, stepping back, hearing more from the various people who are impacted. The concern is losing the good people we have now. And they've already lost, I know they lost 2, and I don't know if they lost 4 over the last year.
Over the last 2 years, we.
Yeah. And again, you've got that year of training and et cetera, et cetera. So, for what it's worth, I agree. Kayla?
I agree, and I definitely agree with the comment too, saying that it's a public safety and that the public should definitely stay on it and how it is. I just worry, well, I'll take my comments for after the additional comments.
I don't know that Rob can speak
I don't
because
know if I can comment on it.
Just, so, just in case.
Judy spoke, Pete spoke. I feel the same way. This has been needed for a long time. And the people that are working in Ashford, if we lose them and they had to be replaced, that's new people coming in that would have to adjust and learn our town and, you know, our fire department. So my feeling is accept it.
I'm wondering how the question can be posed on the ballot to make it clearer to folks as to what it is. I know that when I put forth the general government budget and I showed the fire department as a big ask, and I showed the rest of the general government budget, at least people could see that when you're looking at the overall increase, there's that fire department piece, which is public safety. So I don't know if there's a way to convey this to the public. You know, not everybody is following everything that's going on. So I don't know if on the ballot, it can be shown that this is, there's three questions on our ballot typically. And I've reached out to town council to ask if there's an opportunity to change the wording on the first question. And just to find out if we could even do that. So the wording on the first question, this, you know, is basically, and I sent it to you. Yeah.
Shall the town of Ashford appropriate the sum of, this is last year, blank for the general government budget and blank for the capital improvement budgets of the town of Ashford for the fiscal year of 2025-2026, the total appropriation being blank.
That's how it's put out now. And then you have a separate question for Ashford School and another question for Region 19. Personally, I don't think the capital improvement budget should be in that first question, but let's keep it the way it is. I'm just wondering if that first question can show an elaboration. In other words, the general government budget for, you know, the first part, and then which consists of, and I would say fire department first, only to make it easier to say, and then remaining town departments, something like that, so that, you know, people are starting to hear, if they haven't already heard, about what the fire department's asked for and what the concerns are. And I know they're doing reach outs in the community to make sure that the word gets out about it. So a lot of people won't have seen that or won't have been paying attention because they have busy lives. I didn't know if it would help if it was at least reflected there in the question. Just a thought.
Well, it's overall, it's the general budget. It should just be presented as the general budget. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be as a total.
I'm sure everybody in town already knows.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They're probably not gonna.
The people who've used, I'm sure that the people who've used our emergency services or our fire services are pretty aware, but I don't know that other people.
I'm just saying the nomenclature, what it falls under is the general budget, so just leave it the way it is.
Well, I guess the question would be, if it were separated out and it's standing alone with the amount, the fire department.
Separate.
No, I wasn't looking to separate it out. I was just looking to make sure people understood what the general government was made up of.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have another.
Not another question. And the town clerk's office, the registrars are very concerned. They need to know what the questions are gonna be on the ballot. Because they need to order the ballot.
I mean, that's a way that you can actually tell if they have the support to be separated out, but I don't think it's gonna be beneficial for them.
Yeah, it would have been 4 questions,
Yes.
which is with what you're talking about. And even capital improvement with only one part of the question wouldn't have made sense. So, again, I was only looking to see if that one question could have a bit of an elaboration in it, just for the public to go, oh, it's fire department and it's the rest of it. And that's the general government budget.
Do we get this, is that set in stone by the state?
No, it's not set in stone by the state by any means.
So it would seem to me that we could do it, you suggest.
I suspect that you could, but what I thought I would do is reach out to town council to just see whatever. And I talked to him on the phone, and the first thing he said is, why do you have capital improvement in there? I said, we're not talking about that, just talking about this. So, and I don't have the answer yet. So I just wanted to provide that to you as a board.
Any more discussion?
Talk as a resident.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
This is a slippery slope.
Yeah.
No, you could talk as a
You
member.
cannot.
Is a resident?
Based upon
That's a board of finance decision.
we have town council's opinions, and we have town council's opinions from multiple years.
Wait a minute,
Going
is
all
he
the way
a
back.
volunteer? Can you speak as a volunteer? He's not.
Was he seated? So he.
No, there's a.
This is.
I suspect that the members who are on the board of finance are supportive of the fire department proposal.
That's very interesting.
Okay, so no more comments. Then we're gonna need a motion to accept the general government and Board of Education budgets. Would someone make that motion?
Actually, give me just a second, because they're 2 separate questions on the ballot. Did I send it to you? Which your motions might be, and you'll recall at a previous meeting, you accepted the capital improvement budget. So you don't need to do that tonight, but it wouldn't hurt to do a reiteration of it in some way, so everybody can see when they look at the minutes, these are all the things that were approved.
Okay, so I read this.
I just threw them together to see, because last year you combined
Last year's.
the two, the general government budget and the Ashford school budget, and I don't think you should have done that.
It's better for 2, like, no question. The Catherine is correct.
It's just clearer vote.
You just need to, you already did the capital.
Yeah, and actually, in terms of the capital improvement budget, if there was a comment put in there, the capital improvement budget was approved during such and such board of finance. Was already.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can read, if you would, maybe read, like I said, I just put some samples together for you. If you want to read the first one out loud. Yeah, because you're the one that has them.
I need some numbers.
Yeah, and actually, yes, the format is there, so the numbers or whatever. And as they're looking for the numbers, it would be so-and-so motions to approve general government budget of, and have a total an increase of and a percentage, I think it is. That way people go, okay, that's the total budget. This is how much you went up. Here's what that percentage increase. So it's easier to understand. Because last year, I think you just did what the amount of increase was. I looked at it, I went, wait a minute, we didn't have a total budget. And then, oh. The thing. It's also on this. I couldn't find it in my.
Yeah.
Maybe I
For
could-
I know, I thought of it too, the same.
I'm reading. Okay.
Can we
Read out the.
Can we get a motion to, shall the town of Ashford?
No, it's a motion to, that's,
Okay.
those are budget
A
questions.
motion to appropriate the sum of $4,141,146 for the general government budget. And
Comma, an increase of,
an increase of
it's right there.
$93,328.
I see that.
That's why.
It's an increase, no, it's an increase. The increase is, I'm sorry. The budget number is $4,766,467. An increase of $625,321 or 15.10%.
Correct.
Who said that? Okay, right, that's, so I'm reading, I'm reading the bottom line.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was reading the top.
So how about I read that off? If it's okay with you, I'll read it off
Yeah.
again. I got a loud voice. Okay, there would be a motion to approve the appropriation of 4 million of a general government appropriation of $4,766,467. I would say comma, an increase of $625,321 or 15.10%.
Yeah, this one.
That's what I did. All the numbers. Yes. So that's the motion you're looking for.
Okay.
It needs a first and a second.
Someone make the motion.
I'll move to make the motion.
Keith. Someone second. I can second, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Did you vote, Judy?
That's what I,
You did? Okay, thank you.
all of the time, so.
Okay, you were very quiet. I didn't hear you. Motion passed.
This nice week. Now you got.
Okay, can we?
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same
Okay.
thing.
Can we get a motion to appropriate the sum of $9,153,000?
Not correct. Yeah.
Tell them the numbers.
I have,
You have it? Kayla's got it.
I have,
Okay.
I can make the motion.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the Board of Education budget and the amount of $9,120,049, a $266,185 increase, or a 3% increase from last year.
3.01. What was that?
3.01.
Exact.
I only have one.
It's
Anything, right?
a second.
Give a second.
Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
second that. Pam.
Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion passed.
Thanks to
Set the date and approve the notice for the public hearing.
Also, you're making the, a notation that the capital improvement plan. And, just a friendly reminder, we should say, I didn't think that, 2026-27 budget.
Okay, our public hearing.
What's your calendar say?
It says April 7th.
The public hearing, that motion on that list as well. Yeah, we have that, right? That's that third one. Oh, that's like. So the motion for that is easy.
Nothing's finished.
Before you, well, make the motion, I would suggest, make the motion to set the date for the public hearing for April 7th at 7 p.m. In Knowlton Hall. Yeah.
No, it's here.
It's in Knowlton Hall because
It can't be here. This is too small.
it's too small. Okay, because could be a contentious thing. So, and also it won't be through Zoom because it'll be the public hearing, whatever. And same place you held it last year. And other years. So, what I was going to suggest is someone make the motion and someone do a second, and then I would like, actually, I have to do it ahead of time because I don't want to talk while you're making your motions because I'm not a voting member. So when you're in the middle of your motions. So, what I do want to say is your calendar is one that shows that you have to have the budget package together by the 1st. And the 1st is next Tuesday, not only together, but printed copies down in the town clerk's office, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, for the public to be able to pick up. The good news is that your finance director doesn't, our finance director, treasurer, does not need to go in and make system changes in the system and produce a different report. Okay, you'll get the same report, it'll just have a new date. The other part of it is you have to have your public, your letter or the package done. And so when you look at the letter, who's got the package? Who got the pack? There you do. So if you open that up and take a quick look at the letter, there's information, there's numbers that need to go in there.
This, the first letter that you gave? Or the public
It's from the Board of Finance Care. So you get to page, it's in the front, absolutely in the front. So that one is actually the one for the, that wasn't for the public hearing, but it's the same basic letter. So what you need to do is you need to put in some numbers, grand list, that kind of thing, in order to put that on the front of the, package for the public hearing. So our finance department can help with this. I can help with this to get you the numbers of whatever you need there. But also you need to be able to glean from what's been provided by the, Board of Ed and the, selectmen and, Region 19, what you know so far in terms of their amounts of increase, any kind of explanation for their amounts of increase. So, and you may see it in what you see there as the letter for the annual town meeting, same format. It's just that you have numbers you need to put in there. Another example would be if you've made any appropriations as a board during this fiscal year, then what you want to do is you want to make sure that those are written in there too. So I'll be glad to sit down with you and take you through what that is so that you know what needs to get plugged in there and then help you with the numbers you need. Okay, that should be on the front of the budget package because it explains what's in the budget. And that's what we have done for the last, that format's been used for the last 10 years, 15 years.
In simple words, what Catherine is saying.
Are you recognizing him to speak?
You can request a letter from the Board of Selectmen, Board of Education, Fire Department, and Regional 19, and include that. You know, a letter from each board is your option.
No. What you should be putting in is something that is coming from the Board of Finance to their perspective on what's in this package. Okay, it should not be something that they write, the other parties write it themselves. They can provide
the Board of Finance
because it's from the Board of Finance.
But the Board of Finance can decide what they want in the package.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that letter, fine, but it won't explain to the public what you're already putting out.
I've got to let Sherry know first thing tomorrow.
Oh, no, I'll take care of that.
Oh,
I'll take care of that.
okay. Because she's going to be sending it out.
Sending out what?
The notice for the Chronicle for the public hearing meeting.
Okay, wait, I'll wait till after the meeting.
Okay. Agenda items for the next meeting.
So
We
we
have to
already approved
approve
the
it.
date and time?
Oh, that's right.
And the notice, I have to approve the actual notice.
Yeah.
Do you have to approve the actual notice?
What was, I saw on the last time, it was what the notice was. You can, what you can do is, let's say for that date and time, yeah, you could say, with the, with the chair of the Board of Finance to, either produce the notice or whatever. And you're giving her the authority to do that, to put the notice together, which will be done with the town clerk's office. It won't be hard. And in fact, you've already done that.
Yeah.
And if you want to share that, that could be part.
Oh, I
you
gave
say
it to
that.
everyone. I gave a copy of it.
Oh, you already have the notice.
There's a copy of it. I put it out for everyone.
And what,
Oh, okay.
if I recall, you sat down with Sherry.
Yes, sure, she did it.
And you don't have to put amounts in there. It's just announcing that you're gonna have a public hearing.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doing this all by myself.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Oh, no.
No.
Everybody's getting the job.
So,
Oh,
You can, and if you all have a copy of
yeah,
it,
can we have?
then you can actually say, the way that motion is written about the, notice.
Yeah, just substitute Knowlton Hall for town hall here.
So it would be a motion to, set the date for the public hearing for April 7th at 7 p.m. in Knowlton Hall. And I think there was another thing that was on the end of that motion for last year. Give me a second. Oh, here it is. Okay. A motion to set the public hearing at Knowlton Hall to be held at Knowlton Hall on April 7th at 7 p.m. with the notice as presented. So you received that's the notice. So you're already covered with that. That sound right? You okay?
Yeah.
Good. So you have a motion
Yes, someone make a motion.
to that effect?
So,
I'll second.
All those in favor?
aye.
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 Oppose? Abstain? Okay, pass. Okay, agenda items for the next meeting, prepping for the hearing. Anything else?
When is your next meeting?
I was gonna say, when is the next?
Well, we're gonna have to have it next Thursday.
Because
Do you already have one on the
we
schedule?
have report.
You're looking at
Not on-
that schedule.
Not on the special schedule, we
Is that
don't.
special soon?
Let me just see something. You had a set of meeting notes, you had the schedule for meetings that you provided to the town clerk for the entire year. So, to hear and look and see, if you already have a regular meeting set up for next Thursday.
Yeah, because this only goes through May 7th, the special meetings.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not,
that's not-
that's not right,
Oh.
because that wouldn't be advertised to the public.
Right.
So, I'm just looking, and the next one is April 1st.
So
Calendar.
Should be April 2nd.
April 2nd.
We don't have the July team.
Yeah, April 2nd.
You will get regional. Okay, so you have a regular meeting already scheduled for next Thursday, April 2nd at 7 p.m. That was put forth with your scheduled regular meetings for the entire year. So if you ever are in doubt, go out and look on the town website. There's a calendar out there. And just, look at the calendar.
So
for the month.
one is this one?
That
That's a
one is the
special
one
one.
that are your budget meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're advertising to the public.
So, but my question is we don't even know what Region 19 is yet.
So what you do know is when you go into the public hearing, first of all, you will probably, they have a meeting in Mansfield, the same night as your public hearing. Someone will text you, someone will call somebody, and remember, this is how it happens.
But we have to coordinate it with them. So their public hearing, they're saying.
No, you don't have to coordinate theirs with them. We don't. For
I'm
schedule.
saying they have to do theirs before we know what we're gonna get, and theirs is March 24th for Region 19 public hearing, superintendent's budget.
So all you have to work with is what you have for information at that point in time. The night you have your meeting, I need to see the calendar, and I don't have it in front of me.
I only have the special calendar.
Could you send it down? Let me just see here. So what we have is you're going to adopt this that night. I'm sorry, you're adopting this now. They're adopting theirs on March 31st. That's Monday. Okay. Then you're having, what's going to happen is, I'm sorry, that's Tuesday. If you don't have a number from them, all you can do is put out the number they've given you in the past. They've given you what, a 4% increase? So you put that in. This is what I did too. That's what you have at the point in time where you're making your decisions here. Okay. So, what will happen is during your public hearing, you will receive a new number from them in all likelihood. Someone will call or whatever, because I think they have, whatever they come up with, you're gonna hear something. So then what you can do, you have a special board of selectmen meeting immediately following the public hearing. At that point in time, you're in a position, you've got a good number from Region 19, you adjust the number, you're not really deciding that number. Okay?
Why aren't we doing it tonight then? Why don't we do it all tonight? Why aren't we doing it tonight if we don't know we do the 4% count the things for the meeting?
You can't approve their budget tonight, you wouldn't be doing that.
If it's not gonna change until they call in after the public hearing.
The public hearing is your opportunity to take what you know now, put it out to the public.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't we put it into the hearing?
Well, you can mention it during the hearing, but you wouldn't have it as, you can mention that this is what we've heard so far, but during that hearing, in all likelihood, you're going to hear, someone's going to call you during that meeting.
Because currently, aren't we just talking about the general government with the Ashford School and the fire department and the general? We're not even taking into consideration of Region 19 on top of
no
discussion.
You would, okay? Your notice here is not anything more than you're having a public hearing. It's not saying what the numbers are for anybody, right?
Yep.
Okay, you're having a public hearing to present what you know about the town budget, what you've decided. Okay, so during that meeting, you will be saying, this is what, general government total, Ashford School total, Region 19, this is what they provided so far. We anticipate, hopefully during this meeting, we will get their final number, kind of thing. You'll just be presenting that to the public.
That was my point, was that.
Yeah, it's not, you're not like not talking about it. Listen to me, I sound like a teenager.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
To
follow up on
Their time.
Yeah.
Okay, are you good? About the fact that you would be mentioning, this is what we know?
Yeah, I have the 4% number in the spreadsheet, so.
Good.
To follow up on Judy and Catherine's, the number Kayla could put in the mill rate calculation page, because in the hearing, whatever for Region 19, in the hearing, the bottom line, people want to know what the mill rate is. And even, and if it's an estimate, because you don't actually know Region 19, that's okay. But you have to deliver a mill rate at the town hearing, or people really get confused and antagonistic and negative. So whatever you put in the mill rate calculation page, and you'll be fine.
And Kayla, for you, if you have a calculation all set up in a spreadsheet with the three numbers and whatever, we'll calculate out the mill rate based upon the information we have on our page, that mill rate page, that type of information. If you have it set up that you're calculating the mill rate, I'm going to assume it's going to be done in Excel. It's the best way to do it.
Oh.
Then what you could do is you can plug in whatever the new number is that Region 19 gives us for us if they change the number, and right there for your special meeting afterwards, you can use that for your board to go, okay, this is the number we've gotten, just adjusted this is what the mill rate looks like now.
I'm curious as to what it is at this present moment.
At this present moment, it is 28.161. That for the median assessed value home, which is 240,000, is gonna be a $684 increase.
It is 140,000.
$240,000 assessed. That's the median assessed value. So that's the middle. And we all know that when we were looking at numbers a few weeks back, that it's all variable depending on individual residential property. So that it's going to be higher, lower, much higher. So we need to see. And I think that's going to be the hardest part of explaining the budget and how it impacts everybody individually. To where it's, we see the numbers, we see, fire department's gonna go up, where everybody's going up. But it's like one person is gonna have $500 increase, another person may have $1,000 increase. It depends on how much they wanna swallow down.
It depends on the value of their home, their
Exactly.
property. Right.
So it's different.
And some properties increased in value more than others. Okay, this can go back.
We good?
Did you voted on that, that's right? Hold on.
Okay, remarks for the good of the board. Thank you, Kayla. I can't thank you enough, even if we will be helping you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still your clerk. And thank you all for attending and your questions and your comments. And I think we did a good job tonight. Thank you, everyone. Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Guys.